Hey folks, Michael Kelsey with Representative Tony Hassan back here for your Cowboys at the Capitol report this third week of the legislature. It's a deadline week, so there's a lot going on this week up here at the state capitol. Started out the session about 5,000 bills or so. Into this week, we're going to be at about 2,500 bills. So that's why those deadline weeks are very, very important. A big bill that's important to us that Representative Hassenbach is championing for us is the Meat Consumer Protection Act. Now, just real quickly, this is from last year. You helped us so much with Senate Bill 392 to protect the integrity of our name. So when folks buy beef, they know it comes from a four-legged critter. This year, we're following that up with the bill that you're championing for us that moves it over to ODAF. So we so appreciate you helping us do that. Talk with us a little bit. It was in committee yesterday. Talk with us a little bit why that's important to you.
Well, I think it's important. I grew up on a hog farm. Always had cattle that were, turning into the tastiest protein.
That's right. We're food producers.
And so that's been really important to me. I think it's really important too, as we kind of transition into the new food age, that we make sure that we're creating products and labeling products that are going to be appealing to a broad base of consumers, but also that we do make sure if it says meat, that it was once on hoof.
That's right. It was once on hoof.
That's right. And then the other thing is that this bill just kind of mirrors federal language.
Yep.
And makes it a little bit cleaner and easier for those of us who are producing meat to be consumed.
Yeah.
Are you having troubles with stuff like that?
Yeah, well, it's very important to us, and we get a lot of our members talking about what do we do about these plant-based products, and what do we do about these cell-based products, the lab-based products.
Right.
So your efforts are just invaluable. I want to shift gears a little bit though, because you're an educator.
Yes, that's true.
You're from rural Oklahoma.
That is true.
Your district, you live in Elgin, you and your family live in Elgin, but your district is kind of a very rural district. So there's a lot of issues that are important to you and are important to our members. And you and I were talking a little bit about rural health care.
Yes.
That's going to be a big issue coming up here at the legislature. So share with us kind of what your thoughts and priorities are, because I know our members are going to mirror that and are going to appreciate hearing your perspective.
Sure. I think as I look at my district in particular, some of my districts don't have a 24-hour ambulance service.
Right.
And so that always worries me. My grandpa had some fingers removed in a combine accident, and so I remember that being kind of a thing, getting him to the hospital, and I get really worried about serious injuries and not having ambulance service, not having hospitals close, that kind of thing. So hopefully, as we have, or it looks like we're going to have an opportunity to literally redesign what healthcare looks like in the state of Oklahoma. I know that we have a lot of rural legislators who want to make sure that if there's anything that we can do to keep those situations from happening, that we're doing that.
Right.
One of the things that we're looking into, and the Republican caucus has mentioned this to the governor, that we would like to make sure that those critical access care dollars can come to some of our rural hospitals, and if we can get waivers. We have hospitals in Oklahoma, or we used to have some hospitals in Oklahoma,
right.
that have lost their ability to be a hospital because they're 1,000 feet too close to a hospital in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so that's painful.
It is.
Because that's not a reason that you should lose a hospital that serves, honestly, 3 or 4 counties.
Yeah.
And that's kind of those are critical losses.
That's a great point, because when you're in an accident, you really don't care, was it 1,000 feet from or something, you
Right.
just didn't care.
That's
You need medical
absolutely
care.
correct.
So, yeah.
And more than likely, in the event that you would go to Texas, chances are anything that you would have done there might be out of your network.
Great
and then
point.
you would have all of these extra costs associated with something that you should have been able to manage for the honestly exorbitant price we're paying for our healthcare insurance to begin with.
Right.
And so I truly believe we have many people in the legislature that really want to work hard and get this right.
Great.
So that, and I think it's one of those things, this is one of those things, rural healthcare and access to rural healthcare is good for everybody.
Yeah.
Because
Great point.
that's kind of my job here.
Mhm.
It's you want to make sure that when you are presenting things to urban legislators,
Mhm.
we make them understand if it's good for rural Oklahoma, it's good for you too.
That's right.
And so that's kind of I think that's been a big issue with the healthcare, and it's one of those layers that we constantly talk about here.
Yeah.
So I guess I just want everyone to know that we really are working on it. I think there's a tone in this building right now, because we have a deadline next week to
Right.
get some of this stuff hammered out. And so I sense that is, it's looming on our heads pretty good.
Wow.
So,
All the more reason it's important that, and we're so blessed to have legislators like yourself
thank you.
who are coming out of education, who are coming out of rural Oklahoma, who understand the issues, not only from a small district basis, although your district's not very small, you
Yeah,
cover a pretty good
it's
area.
Big
district,
expanse of
yeah.
space, yes it is.
But you understand it from a state perspective, even a federal perspective. How do we make sure the federal side of this works together? And so
Right.
knowing that you're here doing that for us is we're blessed to have that.
Thank
So
you.
whether it's education, health, or just protecting our name beef. And so
Sure.
thank you.
Sure.
Thank you
Well,
for Mary, what you do.
Can I share something? with you?
Please do.
Okay. I want everyone to know that when I carry bills, or there are other bills that are really important to me, they get show heifer names. Because at our place, if you're a cow at our place and you just have a number, you might not be really special. But if you have a name, you're probably obviously a little fancier than all the other
Mhm.
cows, but you have special meaning to us. So all my bills get show heifer names. So I thought your members would like that.
Oh yeah, we love that. That's sweet. Thank you so much for what you do for
Mhm.
rural Oklahoma, for OCA members. We appreciate it very much. I will tell you folks, I've known Representative Hassenbach, it was Tony a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
when we
Tony.
were in
I'm still
school.
Tony, yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
When we were in school at OSU and her husband Hank, and just rural salt of the earth values. And so we're very blessed to have folks like you up here working for us and representing us, and so we appreciate you very, very, very much. So,
It's absolutely my pleasure. This is
Great.
It's an
Well,
honor.
we've got a lot of work to do on this bill. It's out of committee. It'll go to the floor of the House. You'll champion it there for
Yes.
us. Then we'll go over to the Senate and we'll continue to work in it. So we've got some work to do, but hey, we're one step closer and
That's
we
right.
really appreciate
Every
you.
day,
So,
a little bit.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate you listening in. We'll see you next week at our next Cowboys at the Capitol report.